Morning glory and evening grace, America. Good Friday to you. I'm Hugh Hewitt in Studio West. Welcome. A lot of breaking news today, and I have a lot of clips of the president with Prime Minister Shiba of Japan. Notice Benjamin Netanyahu was first, and then the Prime Minister of Japan is second. I think Donald Trump is signaling very, very clearly who our closest and most important allies are. Not that Australia doesn't matter, not that the United Kingdom doesn't matter, but first Israel, then Japan. Messaging. The big breaking news at this hour, which I found in the Telegraph and confirmed at Reuters and the Independent, and now the Institute for the Study of War has also explained it. This morning, the Telegraph posted that Ukraine advances 5 kilometers behind Russian lines in the new Kursk offensive. So, using geolocated combat footage, Ukraine has attacked again inside of Russia. Russian mill bloggers are talking about it. It's been confirmed in a number of places, and they are not happy with Elon Musk at all, the Russian mill bloggers. But what's more important are the details provided by the Institute for the Study of War. Very serious people, is what they do for a living. Battalion strength attack. Now, I believe a Ukrainian battalion, mechanized battalion, has between 500 and 600 troops and 50 to 100 mechanized vehicles or tanks. So that's 2 different columns advancing in different places, 5 kilometers for the benefit of the Steelers fans, 3.1 miles. Not insignificant, actually very significant, because Russia has ringed the Ukrainian salient with not only their own troops, I think about 70,000 Russian troops in a defensive posture, but the North Koreans are there, in excess of 10,000 North Koreans as well, and they're getting chewed up by the Ukrainians. Now, doesn't mean that the war is going to expand, doesn't mean the war is going to be over. Escalate to de-escalate, that is typically associated with Russia. Maybe it's associated with Ukraine and Zelensky. I do know, from talking to a lot of people, the scale of devastation in this war is off the charts. And I'm trying to use a scale. I think most people are familiar with the footage from Gaza where Hamas obliged Israel to destroy a lot of Gaza in order to get their people back and to push Hamas to the wall and eventually defeat them. That breakdown, that deal's breakdown, appears imminent, as the last time I checked, Hamas had not turned over, as they were obliged to under the ceasefire agreement, the name of the 3 men who were supposed to be released tomorrow in Israel. And that, of course, would mean resumption of the war immediately. So we'll keep our eye on that as the day advances. But you know what Gaza looks like, and you know the rubble of World War II. Well, the Ukrainian devastation is a factor of 10 more. Whole cities destroyed, like Mariupol. I don't even try to pronounce the Russian cities' names because I can't do it. But I'm not sure how many are KIA and how many are wounded severely on the Russian side. I've understood the total casualties, that's both, killed in action and severely wounded, at over 500,000. I know the North Koreans have taken some serious losses. Ukrainians are losing a lot of people as well. And the war's got to stop to save the future of Ukraine. And I think President Zelensky knows that. Probably Russian dictator Putin knows that as well. But he's not winning, and Ukraine's not losing. It's World War I style carnage and death. And when President Trump talks about it, I think that's his message there, is we need to have a ceasefire. And he's got great people working on this, and they're coordinated, they know what they're doing. I don't know what's going to, no one does, but I do know that this offensive is not being covered because most of legacy media is running around trying to make the social media posts of one of Elon Musk's Doge team the lead story. And there are a bunch of other tiny Democrats. By tiny Democrats, I mean backbenchers you've never heard of, trying to break into the Department of Education and trying to get some news story, because they just have no idea what to do. It's been a blitz. Donald Trump calls for the blitz. I used to like to play the magnetic football and always would try and blitz everybody because that's how the magnetic football worked every time. And then along came virtual video game. And some people call Blitz packages on. Well, Donald Trump believes in the Blitz. They call it a blitz. The corners are coming on every play, or the middle linebacker, or it could be all-out blitz, every single play. And he's getting some penalties called on him. Now, that's the second story. And by the way, I'm going to be doing my normal weekend review with Ben Domenech. And this week, instead of Matt Continetti, we've got Charles C.W. Cook to do a weekend review. And of course, Garrity the Indispensable comes along. All that will be packaged as well if you miss any of it on the big weekend pod tomorrow at Highly Concentrated Hugh. And I got to go over all the news of just this week, right? Just this week. We have this Ukraine news, we have the gender executive order, we have the Doge Musk efforts, and we have the tariffs, which seem like they happened a year ago. And then what's that all about, Alfie? Can we come back on that, by the way? When Charles C.W. Cook comes on, what's it all about, Alfie? I doubt he'll recognize it, but that's the music I want to use. Here is what Donald Trump said in the Oval Office today about USAID, cut number 2.
Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste. You see it with the USAID, but you're going to see it even more so with other agencies and other parts of government. He's got a staff that's fantastic. He's wanted to be able to do this for a long time, and everybody else knew it was existent, but I think never so much when you look at USAID. That's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. Very little being put to good use. Every single line that I look at in terms of events and transactions is either corrupt or ridiculous. And we're going to be doing that throughout government. And I think we're going to be very close to balancing budgets for the first time in many years. I think we're going to be very close to, in addition to monies coming in from tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. But no, he's doing a very good job. I'm very happy with it.
I have been, by the way, watching very closely The Hill to see if news of a budget reconciliation agreement among House Republicans that can pass the House has been reached. No word on that yet. President Trump came back around to USAID, cut number 5.
What we're doing, if you look at what has just taken place with respect to some of the investments that have been made on another agency that people have been talking about for years, but nobody did anything about it, it's absolutely obscene, dangerous, bad, very costly. I mean, virtually every investment made is a con job. There's nothing of value to anybody unless there's a kickback scheme going on, which is possible. And we're going to be doing more and more of that. We're going to be looking at Department of Education. We're going to be looking at even our military. We're going to be looking at tremendous amounts of money, Peter, being spent on things that bear no relationship to anything and have no value. We're talking about trillions of dollars. It will be, in the end, trillions of dollars being absolutely wasted and perhaps illegally. I would say certainly in many cases illegally, but perhaps illegally overall. And I'm very proud of the job that this group of young people, generally young people, but very smart people, they're doing. They're doing it at my insistence. It would be a lot easier not to do it.
Can I break in here? The objection that the Doge team is too young is really stupid. I walked in with a PS SAP clearance at the age of 26 at the Department of Justice, and nobody worried that the special assistant clearing the FISA applications was 26, because there are people above you. And I just think it's silly. It's absolutely silly. Ben Domenech and I will talk about that later. CBS Weijia Jiang asked the president what appears to be an attempt to set him up for anger. Cut number 4.
Mr. President, do you have a reaction to the new Time magazine cover that has Elon Musk sitting behind your Resolute desk?
タイムマガジンにイーロン・マスクが大統領の机の後ろで座っている写真がありますけれども、それに関するコメントは何かありますか?
Is Time magazine still in business? I didn't even know that.
まだタイムマガジンは廃刊じゃないんですか?
Elon is doing a great job.
Yeah, God bless him. Because did you hear your Resolute desk? Your Resolute, do you know what she's trying to do? And he's not having any of it. He's been shot in the head. Do you think the CBS reporter who's trying to get him to vent because someone's sitting behind your Resolute desk has a chance? Not one chance. And it does expose the legacy media. They're back in the same game. Trump's not playing it. I'm not playing it. You're not playing it. His executive order on gender had an 80% approval. 80% approval. Does not matter what legacy media thinks. Because we have John Ashbrook, the Neil Armstrong of new media. You can go see my interview with him yesterday over at my YouTube channel. If you missed it, you got to listen to it.